I guess I should go live. I was reading the chat. I didn't want to interrupt Beth because she was right in the middle of it. So, and I hate that she was. So I don't know who's driving the bus. I'm not. It's a good thing I'm not driving the bus. I'm just happy to be here. Let's see, Mitzi. Hi, Mitzi. And Arlene, of course, is here. And I'm just telling Arlene how much I appreciated her happy mail the other day. And Jane is here. Hi, Jane. How are you tonight? Every time I do this live, it reminds me of, and don't ask me why, but it reminds me of Good Morning Vietnam. And I feel like yelling, "Good morning, Melbourne," or whatever. Anyway, it's been one of those days. And yes, and Barb is pulling out the abbreviations for a research paper and others. I used to use that. That's when there was more than 3 authors. You use that in a footnote. See, I remember some of that useless stuff. Hi, Brooke. How are you? I have been using your slow stitch kit to go, and today with my little bits and pieces. Hi, Laura, how are you? I've been thinking about a lot of what you've been saying about the meaning of words, and it's really brought me into thinking about what we're doing tonight. I know this sounds silly, but I got hung up with, fiber and fabric, and we all kind of think we know what fiber and fabric is, but of course the nerd in me, the Laurettes, yes. Roy, you are so funny. I appreciate your humor so much. Hi, Shelley and Kimberly, and let's see, Laura, do nothing. No, I know, I agree, but I'm just thinking about, I looked up the definition of fiber and fabric. And hi, Mary Lou, good to see you again. And Mitzi, yes. And I'm sure you already all know this. Hi, Artful, that fiber is the thread and fabric is the cloth that's made out of the fiber. So I was thinking about that. Why? I don't know. I just kind of get hung up on those things. And I was thinking about words and inspiration and what inspire us and what moves us to do things. And so this is what has been inspiring me, this little book. And I've talked about it in Aunt Beck's group. And I don't know who the enabler was for this. I don't remember. There's like a trifecta of enablers, and there's Dee Dee and Eileen and Scrap Chick and Kathy. And one of those, I think, turned me on to this book. And I've never really known too much about folk art, but I just love the style. And here is Frida on the cover. So there was and it's a great little book because it gives you like a template, and then it gives you the steps. And the one that I'm doing tonight, and it kind of really lends itself to this, is, oops. I'm doing this one. Hi, Erin. And it's called Newport, Rhode Island. And I was drawn to this because I actually was born on the Navy base in Newport, Rhode Island. And so I've this probably about 2 years ago. And I thought that this really lends itself to places where you can add elements and, bits and bobs, and a lot of those, little buttons and stuff that I received in Brooke's slow stitch kit to go. It allows me to use some of those little bits and pieces, and fabric scraps everywhere. So then the question came, what was going to be my substrate? And that I initially painted a piece of cardboard with black gesso. And then I thought I would do it on a dish towel. I bought 18 of them. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with them. However, and I copied this. And then I decided through Aunt Beck's craft room, we had a discussion, and I had painted a 12 by 12. I don't know what you call it. Is a box canvas, you know? But I painted a canvas, and I decided to put it on a canvas. So now my first step was to, if you don't mind me sharing the process with you. Yes, isn't it, Malaya? Oh, it's great. So I've been doing a little folk art. This is one that I recently did, and I posted that on Instagram. That was in the back, and I just kind of copied it. But I just love the colors because it's got everything. It's got doodling and a little Zentangle-ish kind of moves in it, and then other neat stuff. So what I did was, they give you a template. And I did my favorite thing. I took a picture of the template with my phone, uploaded the template onto Google Drawings, and then I enlarged it. Hi, Abigail. How are you? And Peggy, Kimberly, it's so good to see all you folks. And Cheryl, I saw you earlier today. So awesome to see all of you. And why are they making that message weird? I don't know. Please, please subscribe. I would love that. So I then printed out a template. And then what I did was I cut out all of these pieces. And I use resume paper. It's not as heavy as cardstock, but it's heavier than printer paper. So I use resume paper. And so I cut out all of these pieces, and then I glued fabric onto them, all the bits and pieces of fabric that I have. And but at first I cut them out like this. I hope this makes sense. But at first I cut it out like this around the tree, and then I decided I didn't like that, so I went back and started all over again. And because I cut out the whole tree, and that way I could overlap them and maybe give a little bit of dimension. And so the finished product looks like this, and then I printed that out. So this is kind of the finished product from the book. And so this became my guidelines to kind of put this thing all together. And again, I decided on the canvas, and what I was going to stitch that stuff on or not, I stitched some of it on because I wanted to kind of look like slow stitching, because that's another thing that I'm kind of into a little bit. I love. And so I had this piece of fabric. Let's see if I can get my thingy. All right, let's see. My very expensive webcam. High tech with a zoom in and zoom out, which is me. My arm is the zoom in and zoom out. So this is the water part of it. And this is a piece of painter's canvas drop cloth. And I frayed that. So that's going to be, just imagine these are the waves lapping up against, the shore at Newport. And so that's the beginnings of this. And then I also fortunately had this piece of fabric, which came from, again, Brooke's kit. I bought an extra set of fabric. And so hi again. Hi, Aunt Beck. Had so much fun today in your room. And I want to talk about, can I just digress? I officially became a hooker in training yesterday, and I've been hooking up a storm. And I got my yarn today, Becky, and look what I was able to do today. Becky and Mary Lou and Violet have been so patiently teaching me how to be a hooker, and I am not a consistent hooker. but I am working on it. And initially I started with yarn, and the real yarn was very, very, very slippery. So my hands were like lanolin slippery. So then this was the yarn I was using, and it kept on sliding off the thingy. So then I just got like acrylic. But I'm going to use this I'm going to glue this down as an embellishment. But this is I'm learning. So this is going to be the sky. And tonight I'm just going to maybe tack it down. And but I think I sewed this right through the canvas. So I think I want to save that. And so if you don't, I'm just going to start just kind of building this based on the original. I mean, fortunately I have all the pieces, most of the pieces cut out. It's kind of a little bit what Beth did. You can go take any picture you want, go online and pick out, download any kind of picture you want. I saw a woman that did a beautiful landscape. It was a photograph, and she sketched it out and then cut out the pictures and put it on, a piece of canvas and glued it down. So without further ado, I have my sky, and fortunately I just had that piece of fabric, and I've got my trees, and I don't know right now whether I'm going to hold this and sew buttons on it like this, free, and then glue it down, which I think is a better option than trying to sew buttons on right through the canvas. So I think I'm going to just, and do all the embellishments on the bits and pieces and then glue them down. That's the plan. So I've got this, and I've got, it looks like a lot of pieces, but it's really not that many pieces, kind of. And look, I have to have my bandana. So I've got some bits and pieces of bandana. I think I've told you that story when I worked as a migrant laborer on that 2,000-acre orchards and tortures, as we called it. I wore a bandana all the time just because I was, perspiring heavily. And let's see, this is going to go here. And that's why I made them round, so I can kind of do something like this. And like so. And I've got some trees here, and I've got a tree trunk, and I'm just using Amazon glue stick, which is very, 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 very sticky. And then again, I'm just going to maybe just tack this down, and that way I can pull it up and then embellish these trees individually and sew on rickrack. Your monk's cap bonus. All right. Nothing wrong with being bald. My son is bald. I don't see him. He said he was going to pop in tonight, but he probably forgot. But if you see a Dave Lahr pop in, just say hi to him. I told him I was going to be on, but he's in New Jersey. Laura, he's in South Orange, New Jersey, visiting his mother-in-law and his sister-in-law and his wife's family. So again, this is from the picture. And I got this house here. So, the plan will be that I will eventually embellish and sew on buttons and such. And here's another little tree here. I'm looking at the finished product over here. And Is it fiddly? Yes, it is fiddly. But I don't mind fiddly. I love fancy cutting, whatever that's called. And I like all of that. And I have another tree here, and I have another stem for it, a trunk. And here are my boats. And I've got the sail here. And here's the other. This is the bigger sailboat. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful fabric? That came out of Brooke's kit. Brooke, this whole thing is your stuff. I'm so glad I bought it, and I bought the extra set of fabric and doohickeys. I don't think they're called doohickeys, but I've got little pieces that are kind of like waves type of thing, and I'm going to stick that in here. And I've got little pieces of fabric here that are going to be kind of like add some dimension to the water. And where's the rest of my... Isn't that amazing? You have everything laid out, right? And all of a sudden it disappears. I've got the other sail here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And I'm missing there it is. Trunk. And there's a trunk. I bought some fabric pens, markers, and they're okay. I've worked on them a little bit. And I'm missing a big tree here. Geez, guys. Isn't that amazing? You had everything laid out, and then people, they just walk away. There's a tree that goes right here, and it's just, here it is hiding. Here it is. So I have this beautiful button that came out of that kit, and, you know, so I'm sure you can kind of imagine all of this. Okay, I'm bringing this, whoops. Oh, shite. As the Irish would say, shite. I love it when the Irish curse because it sounds so much better than when we curse. Just saying. But this is my template. And so I'm following this in terms of putting stuff onto it. I'm envisioning sewing in buttons here. And for this squiggly stuff here, I might use some of my beautiful embroidery. This, what do we call that? A snake or what is that? I'm just doing the straight line. I have not advanced to doing the other parts of the crochet. When they started teaching me crochet, it was like, what? Slow down, slow down, slow down. And I guess when you do that, it's just like so fast that it's hard for people to slow down. And I felt so slow. I don't know what else to say. And the yarn was so slippery. It kept on sliding off my hook. And I gave the ladies a history lesson on how the word hooker came to mean prostitute. I love the history of words. And again, the story goes that during the Civil War, there was a Union captain by the name of John Hooker. And it wasn't uncommon for the wives to follow behind the troops as they were marching 2 or 3 miles behind the front line were the women and the kids. And when they stopped to make camp at the end of the day, God bless the wives, guess what they would do? They would come up and do the laundry and the cooking and all of that other fun stuff that wives do. And also there was another group of women who became known as hookers women. And they did, when I teach this to my students, they did a little bit more than the laundry. They were known as laundresses. but they really did a little bit more than the laundry, and they became known as hookers women. And because of the extra laundry services that they provided, they became known as hookers or prostitutes. Okay, I see something. You have 2 questions above if you have a moment. Whoa, okay. Can I move up? Can you okay, questions. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. All right. Agree, cursing, and yeah, it's true in any other language. Please give. I'm not seeing the question. Could you guys write the question in again for me? Because I'm not seeing it. Oh, my tumble dry. Oh, that's it. Oh. See, those are the kind of stories I would like to tell my students. Now, these stories were for seniors. I didn't tell these to my 8th graders, but that's how you get their interest. Now, another part of this, if you look at this, look, picket fence, right? Look at this piece of that came from Brooks' kit. Is that picket fence? Whoa! Scrap chick, whose artwork inspired you? Oh, it was the book, and I don't know whether the book came from. In the description, this is how good I was. In the description, I've actually written down the name of the book, and not only the name, but the ISBN in the back if you want to order it. Is the lace on the, that's, well, I'm not sure. I think if you look in the picture, it looks like it's behind the tree, but I think I'm going to cut out the pieces of picket fence and kind of put that, whoops, I'm going to put it behind all of this, and then a little piece over here. And again, I think I'm going to sew in buttons for this, and I might glue in my beautiful my embroidery work. And I have I made a couple of little fishes to put in here. But it's just fun, and you can, I mean, this is obviously going to go on for a while. Obviously, this is not going to be done in a short period of time. But you can see, look how cute that is, the little picket fence. Oh, it's like, I'm assuming you all getting the picture here. But you're going to have the picket fence, and I'm not done. There is more. I'm going to put this up. Now, in New England, there are the ubiquitous stone walls, right? So, of course, how about, just think about this, a break wall, a stone wall right here. And look what I have. Woo! Dollar Tree stones. Look at these, $1, and they traveled all the way from, guess where? China. Oh, I have 6 minutes. Oh boy, I better talk in slow motion. Anyway, Aunt Peck, good. So I'm thinking of using one of those heavy duty, I don't know, the Echo. No, it's not Echo. You know what I mean, that 600 stuff, but wouldn't that look nice? Just picture a stone wall. Mary Lou, you said the stone walls are gone in Rhode Island? Yeah, E6000. That's stinky stuff, but man, does that work. Thank you, Joy. I appreciate that. But I think this will be really cool, right? A little stone wall. And I thought that would be kind of cool to add to that. And then I have some, if my son was here, I would say, look, Dave, gingerbread, because he knows Chautauqua Institution and all the houses had gingerbread. This is like the Victorian gingerbread. So I'm going to glue that there, and we'll have like Victorian gingerbread woodwork on this house here, which will look really cool. Now, this is colonial Newport, Rhode Island. I've been to Newport, Rhode Island in recent years, and we went to the harbor, and it was just, oh my gosh, 60, 70-foot yachts with crews, that 10, 12 member crew. And it's just, super rich. So I'm going to put stones here. This will give me the Victorian it's called gingerbread lattice work that many of the houses in Chautauqua Institution have. And if you're familiar with that style of building, it's beautiful with the lattice work. And so that's going to give me some a gingerbread look here. Now, if you type in Chautauqua Institution and images, you will be absolutely, as the Irish say, gobsmacked. It's just an incredible place. And I'm thinking of gluing, some of my because this will give meaning and my little hooker experiment. And then I have some of this, and tell me if I'm right. Is this what's called rickrack? Is this what rickrack is? Because I never knew what rickrack was. And is this rickrack? Yeah, it's upstate New York. You're right. It's southwestern New York. So it's far. If you have to go completely across New York State, and it's like 40 miles from Lake Erie. No, it's not near Binghamton. No, it's like 400 miles west of that. Yeah, you got to keep on going. So this is rickrack. Okay, I wasn't sure. I've heard that word, but I never really knew what it was. So look, isn't that perfect for here on these trees? So again, these are bits and pieces that came from Brooke's wonderful slow stitch and go kit. I can't tell you how much I love this kit, and every time I go through it, I find more stuff that I can use. Well, isn't Binghamton north of Albany? Syracuse, yeah. But check out Chautauqua, because I lived on Chautauqua Lake, and I kind of know, but the houses there are they're all Victorian houses with the beautiful porches and the gingerbread lattice work. And of course, I have some stars to add. It's a little twinkle, twinkle, little star. So just want to, have you maybe, think about it, go online, or you might have a favorite picture of a place that you visited, and, you too can make this, and just make a copy of it and cut it out and glue it onto fabric. And I will definitely come back and show you the finished product, but it's pretty colorful. So I hope you enjoyed that. And look at the time. It's 29:17. I'm right on it. Yes. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I wasn't too scattered. Again, there's a lot of moving parts here, but I'm looking forward to finishing this, and I'm also looking forward to sharing with you the finished product. But you can take this and do this with any picture, anything that any picture that means anything to you, has sentimental value, and you too can make this, and probably not as wacky. So have a great evening. Thank you so much. And we're going on to Aunt Bex. And thank you, Aunt Beck, for being patient and teaching me how to be a hooker in training, and your craft room. People, you've got to check out the craft room. It is so much fun. So good night. If you can't be good, as my mother would say, be careful. And I'll see you out on the internet. Thank you so much for being here. Good night.